Philippians chapter 4, verses what? Verses what? Kelvin. Verses 4. But I think let's start in Matthew chapter 6:31. Matthew 6:31, right? Let's start there. So that we anchor our scripture. Therefore do not be what? Let's read again. 1, 2, 3, go. Therefore do not what? Do not be anxious. Say, neighbor, today you will receive prescription for anxiety. Therefore do not be anxious, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? Now look at this. Therefore do not be anxious, saying what? What shall we eat? What shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? Do you notice that anxiety is caused by things that we need for daily sustenance? The Bible says food. Some of you right now, you are anxious because of what are we going to eat? December, what are we going to eat? What are the children going to eat? The grocery for December, the grocery to take home. What are we? So the Bible actually, you see, the Bible is a manual of life. It is telling us that sometimes we become so overly anxious because of food. So things that we need for our sustenance and survival can cause us to be anxious. Therefore, do not be anxious, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? So some are even anxious about clothes. Where am I going to get money to buy Christmas clothes? And where am I going to get money to buy my own clothes? There are still adults who wear Christmas clothes, right? Adults no longer wear Christmas clothes. We are. Yeah. You know, so when you reach the village, there are clothes you want to rock, right? So the Bible is telling us that there are a lot of things that we become overly anxious about. And some of the things that we become overly anxious about, they have the ability to affect our outlook of life. A study shows that, I'm going to give you what they say, that 32% of people are anxious because of work-related issues. So according to a study, the major anxiety, the number one thing that tops the chart is issues of employment, things that are happening within the workspace. In other words, there are people that goes to work and it just affects them emotionally, mentally, which ultimately affects their health. Somebody say work. The second thing that affects, it says that 29 they are affected by their anxiety is because of physical health problems. So then 29% of the people, their health challenges or concerns are the ones that causes what? Anxiety. 26% is caused by loneliness. So people just become lonely and anxious. Do you know that loneliness is real? Can I tell you something? Do you know that you can have people around you and you are still lonely? I'm telling you the truth. And some people think when I get married, I won't be lonely. Baby, you can be with a husband or a wife and you still feel alone. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So there are things that really affect our mental and emotional well-being. Now, if that is the case, if you can be lonely in the presence of people, imagine when you are alone and you are lonely. So it means that now it is double. Your neighbor, you've got someone. Even when you are lonely, you can still talk. Even if they are not able to really deal with that longing in the heart. But just imagine someone who stays alone, who have no one at all. You are just staring at the walls. Somebody say loneliness. There are issues of life that being a Christian does not mean we will not face them. There are things, challenges, that being prayerful and a Christian should not be measured against that. Because you can be prayerful. You can be close to the presence of God. But your heart still feels, yes, I've got God, but I also need that physicality. I also need a physical person. Hey. There are men in the Bible who went through those bouts of depression, bouts of anxiety. And when they went through them, some of them they could not handle as much as they were highly spiritual. The first thing that came to their mind was suicide. So a person can genuinely love God and still have suicidal thoughts. It does not mean they are less spiritually. Can I just talk to you today? It does not mean they are not prayerful. You get a man who is able to call fire from heaven, called Elijah. And when he says fire, seraphims, angels of fire descends and destroys people. When he puts bullocks on the altar, the fire of God comes up. The angels of God comes up, takes that sacrifice in full sight of people. A man who enters into an environment and speaks things and there is a dramatic turnaround. Yet, one day all of a sudden, he's so anxious, depressed that he goes to the mountain and says, Lord, take my life. So, anxiety does not signify a weak mind. Anxiety does not signify that one is not spiritual. Because sometimes also, when you become spiritual, you want to be alone. Telling you the truth. Sometimes when you become spiritual, as much as you hang around people, most of the time you'll want to be alone. That is why very spiritual people, you find that they are lonely people. They are always alone. Even their routine is very predictable. You know, if I don't get him there or her there, I'll get him there or there. So, never ever judge the negativity around you based on your spiritual development. You can be like Moses. The same man who stretches forth a rod, the Red Sea is part. The same man who takes the staff, hits a rock, and water gushes out. The same man who speaks to God and all of a sudden the foot of angels begin to fall from heaven. The next moment he says to God, take my life. And you wonder if a man of such spiritual intensity is looking and asking God to take his life. What about me? Who only prays 2 minutes and I am done. So never ever judge when you feel depressed, when you feel anxious. Don't think that God is not. All these individuals, God was still with them. Actually put Isaiah 43 verses 2, quickly. Isaiah 43 verses 2, quickly. That's coming into my soul, my spirit. When you pass through the waters, I will what? They shall not what? overwhelm. So what God is saying, everything you are going through shall not overwhelm you because I'm with you. You know what the problem is? Okay, look at this. When you walk through the fire, you will not what? And the flame shall not what? So the Bible says, you will pass through the waters and you will go through the fire. And he says, they will not overwhelm you because I have what? I am what? I will what? Be with you. Do you know what the problem is? When we are going through issues that are pertaining to life, issues with our career, issues with our finances, issues with relationships, issues in our marriages, issues with anything that we are believing God for, we then believe that we are alone. But God is saying, I will be with you. In other words, what you are going through does not mean I am absent from you. Your situation does not define God's presence. Jesus, I just said that. Your situation does not define God's presence. You can have God in your life and still go through the most. Because the truth of the matter is that you need certain type of pressure to see His glory. You need certain type of pressure to push you out of your comfort zone or to cause growth. Somebody say pressure. Somebody say pressure. And the other thing that causes loneliness is death. 23% of loneliness is caused by death. So in other words, we can be so overwhelmed because of that. You know, salary clocks into the account tonight, midnight. You know, you have to stay up because you know, if I sleep, I'm going to wake up to a negative. Because you will just get, when you woke up, you will just get all those deductions. Sanlam took. Fin choice took. This bank took. Everything took. It's like as they are taking, they are forgetting that you are the one doing the work. So some have become masters. They wait. The moment transfer to another account. And others don't do transfer. You take the reverse the debit. You know, I'm telling you, as much as we are spiritual, these are issues, real things that we go through as believers. These are real things. So death also can cause anxiety. Do you know how painful it is to work when your salary comes in, your salary is gone? You can't even make plans or budget. You know, in Setswana, you know, we have what we call hochadis. It's like it's an amo account on hochadis. I don't know how to explain that in English. You know. And it happens. You see it, but you can't enjoy it. Now, when you are supposed to go to work, you are even thinking, what am I going to work for? Because these things can overwhelm us. And when they overwhelm us, the desire to live begins to dwindle. We become overly anxious. Then 20% is caused by relationship with family members. Family members. You know, some people, they've got Satan himself as their cousin. You are going to a funeral, you are excited. The moment that one that is carrying Satan come, you even wish, why did I come? Hey, Swanebani. You are still like this. You still haven't changed the car. You are still walking. I thought you were doing a good job. You were employed. You know, there are cousins that are really Satan themselves. It's like Satan was multiplied. When a family meeting is called, you know there's going to be drama. I know some of you come from perfect families. That when family meetings are called, it's KFC, everybody's. But there are people when family meetings are called. When they leave those family meetings, nobody's talking to nobody. The only person that they are talking to is the one with the cash. These are real things that we as Africans go through. And when the family meetings are called, you are the last one to be invited. When decisions, I think we should do this, you try to bring your just wait a little bit. He's still talking. They are talking about the cash kick. just wait. Life. And all these things, because we are human beings, we are not stone, they affect us mentally. They affect us emotionally. What more if you are married and you have gone to your family? Hey, somebody say anxiety. Come on, somebody say anxiety. And some are anxious because of their financial status. Because sometimes our society, our family, our friends, they are expecting us to achieve certain results. You know that there are people who can set goals for you that you don't even know that they've set goals for you. They have set standards for you. And you don't even know that there is a standard. You know, last year they saw you. Before you even come for December, some are already thinking, hey, we want to see what car this year he's going to come with, she's going to come with. You are not even thinking of buying a car, but them they've already set the standard that this year we are seeing something big. There is your success, a version of your success that you do not know about that exists in people's minds. I hear what I'm saying. There is a version of your success that you are not even aware of that exists in people's mouth. I think I should stop preaching. I'm good in teaching. I don't think I must preach anymore. And that version that exists in people's life can cause pressure. This pressure can cause depression. You meet a boy, you go home, you introduce this boy. Everybody is excited in the village. When is the wedding? Soon. When is the wedding? Soon. You break up with this boy. Now you are thinking, going back home. You'll be asked questions you are not unwilling to answer. Because there is a version of you that exists. Hey, may God help you do this life thing. I say, may God help you to do this thing called life. When you are dealing with this kind of issues, they can cause anxiety. But anxiety does not come alone. Anxiety has its own issues, has its own challenges. According to Healthline, anxiety can cause a sense of doom. It can cause chronic headaches. It causes breathing problems. In other words, when you are anxious, I can't breathe. And we will be coming, Satan out, So, meanwhile, there is no, Satan is standing there and say, I'm not even there. She's worried, that one. My daughter has a favorite thing. Whenever she wants something from me and I want to bring an excuse, Father, breathe, drink water. Yeah. When I was in Botswana, I'm getting these video calls, and I was reading, and because I knew she wanted something. The moment, Angel, I'm busy, breathe, Father, breathe. Say, neighbor, breathe. Drink water. Can also causes panic attacks. Causes also depression and extreme fatigue. It can also causes challenges with your diet, your stomach. How many of you have noticed that when you are anxious, I felt it, I know I have, that when you are worried a lot, you even lose your appetite. Even if they are to bring you the best food, you lose your appetite. It also says it also is responsible for loss of libido. I won't go into that. The youth laughed. I thought it's the married people are supposed to be the ones laughing, not the youth. What is it that the youth know that married people don't know? I think these are not youth. These guys. It's not me, it's Pastor Ephraim, youth. Anxiety can also affect our work. Anxiety affects your productivity. When you are anxious, it is difficult to be productive. When you are anxious, it is difficult to be productive. Some of you, when you are anxious, all you want to do is sleep. All you want to do is sleep. And when anxiety is not managed, it leads to unhealthy coping mechanisms. When it is not managed, it leads to unhealthy coping mechanisms. It leads to, what do we call this thing? When you keep on doing something, what do we call this thing? Addictions. It can lead to addiction. Do you know that there are people that have mastered the art of dealing with their anxiety, and the way they have mastered it is an unhealthy pattern. Some, when they are going through stuff and they are anxious, the only thing they think about, alcohol. If I can just drink. Sooner or later, you start seeing a pussy face developing, and you are wondering, this nice boy, this nice girl, what happened? But the reason they are at that state is because for them, it is a coping mechanism. It is something they are using to cope with what they are going through. And some, they run to Daha, saved and smoking it away, puffing it away. After puffing it away, they, Jesus, you are holy. Let me tell you the truth. We are saints, but they are skeletons because of what we go through in life. And some, can I be free? Some, when they are anxious, masturbation becomes the relief. You said I can be free. Because, let me tell you something. Because at that moment, because everything around you, everything in you is feeling down, you want a pick-me-up. Something that can give you. Do you think people that takes drugs, they took them because they are just excited? There is just something. Whenever they need something that will give them that high back. I rebuke that anxiety at the back. So it creates a sense that one needs a pick-me-up. Okay, media team, lift up your hands, all of you. All of you. Stand up, all of you. What is the problem? There's no problem. Okay. Because now they are taking me down also. I forget what I wanted to say now. Pick you up. And some, because of anxiety, they have developed unhealthy sexual addictions. You said I must talk. Because everybody, listen to me, everybody has a way that they know that when I feel like this will fix me. And what is your fix may not be your neighbor's fix. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Because we are different and everything is tailor-made according to the fabric of our souls. And most of these things that we use as addiction, as anxiety mechanism copers, they've got left. Do you know that sometimes you are dealing with something, but after dealing with something, now you are left with a problem because of the coping mechanism you have employed? Some of you, when anxiety hits you, you go through your phone book. You are looking for that person that once say, hi, you look good. Because you're at that moment, you are just looking for a pick-me-up. And what people fail to understand is that, where is the youth? Are they here? No, the children. Where are they? They are up. Okay. They went up. Huh? They're there. Okay. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to call that thing the dot. Right? So let's say the dot is a pick-me-up. What people fail to understand is that thing, as much as it gives you that pleasure and the high, but every time you come together with a person, listen to me and listen to me well, there is a transference of energies. There is an exchange of energies. When he comes together with someone, what will happen is that the person receives what he carries, and he receives what the person carries. I'm telling you the truth. There is an exchange of energy. That is why you'll find that you will find that immediately after, the same person who was depressed, all of a sudden they are bubbling. You are the one now that is feeling down. I'm telling you things we don't preach, but they're reality. There is an exchange of energies. What the person is carrying, you are partaking. What you are carrying, that's why some of you immediately after that, you start dreaming. All of a sudden, you dream drums being beaten. Because you exchanged an energy with someone that is deeply in Sangoma stuff. Say, neighbor, who are you exchanging your energy with? Say, neighbor, whose energy are you carrying? Immediately after that, even things that were going right, they begin to go wrong. You know, because sometimes some of you met with someone that is closed, and everything around you begins to become closed. Ngikopa go bua. Ngicela ukukhuluma. Ngicela ukuthetha. So you need to make sure that when you are anxious, because at that moment, if you are already an addict, the first thing is drugs. You know, the thing is, one of the things that we need to understand, know that, okay, when I feel down, this is a pick me up. If it is negative, try to avoid it by all means. Do not put yourself in the position. It's like, you know, whenever you are depressed, right? Maybe cocaine helps you. And all of a sudden, you know, Jesus, I love you. But you remember, hey, when I used to hang up with Johnny, and you know, Johnny never lacks supply. Johnny, I was praying for you. I'm thinking of you. Where are you? Let us catch up. Baby, soon you will be shouting Jesus. Whenever you are down, do not expose yourself to your weakness. Whenever you are down, avoid exposing yourself to things that picks you up negatively. Because as much as they pick you up, you will feel relief for that moment, but that relief will be paid for. It's quiet in this Baptist church. Say, neighbor, you are so quiet. Usually when you are worried, you feel like something is pulling your mind here. Something is pulling your mind. There. Let me show you something. When was it when I needed money? I think 2 months, if I'm not mistaken. I was stressed because I needed urgent financial help. I needed money to do something. Urgently. And now I'm just busy thinking, where is this going to come from? Where is this? She comes to me, you're not going to work. And I was sitting in a chair in the grass. And she says, what are you going to? I said, I don't know. And I said to her, buy me, what did I say, buy me? The food that you want. I said, have chicken and pap of Nando's. Ordered. I'm sitting. Immediately after eating the half chicken and pap, I called, honey, I know where the money is coming from. And it came. You know. I think my pick-me-up is not bad. Huh? It was a quick fix. Yeah. And in 2 hours, the money was there. That's it. But here is the thing. And all of us, we've got that thing. Sometimes it may just be a call. You know you are down. You don't even need to tell a person, just call. But the moment you speak to that person, you are relieved. So there are things that are good that can take you out of that space. But there are also negative ones. People, if I can call this person, my heart will be settled. Just by hearing them talk. Even if they are talking nonsense. Just that voice. All of a sudden, that worry is gone. You realize later that, I'm no longer stressed about this. So you need to know, identify things that you use. However, do not ever entertain negative things, because after entertaining a negative pick-me-up, you are going to be dealing with the after effects. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Anxiety brings tomorrow into today. It brings what? Do you know that some of you are worried about tomorrow? Some of you are worried about what is going to happen when you get to work tomorrow. You are worried about when I get to the office. And you find you are worried about something that will never even happen. Most of the things that we worry or are anxious about, they never even materialize. Some of you right now, you may have left an issue at the house and you are already thinking, when I get home, Goliath will be waiting for me there. And you get there, the person is, honey, today I decided to cook just to spoil you. Sometimes we worry about things. We allow things to take the joy out of us that do not even materialize. That's why Jesus says, why worry about tomorrow? About what you will eat? About what you will drink? Why worry? Say, neighbor, you are too beautiful to worry. And some of us, we are anxious because of trauma that happened in the past. Some of you, while you are growing up, some of you, not while you are growing up, but in your adulthood, there are things that have happened that you just can't pray away, you just can't shout away. Listen to me, not everything can be prayed away. Some things they need you to sit with a counselor and talk. Some things they need you to sit with a friend that you trust, a brother that you trust, and talk. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Ask your neighbor, are you that person that I trust? But it also should not be somebody that you trust. It should be someone who is intelligent enough to advise you correctly. Because not every advice is, there are some advices that can take you deep into what you are going through. Instead of helping you, they can take you deep. I hear what I'm saying. So, not every anxiety can be shouted away. Sometimes you just need to talk. Have people around you that you can talk to. Can I give you the prescription now? Can I give you the medicine now? Yeah. The first one, let us go to what? Acts chapter 26. Acts chapter 26 verses 2. And then we'll go to Philippians chapter 4. I think myself happy. Okay, let's read from verses 1. If we can see, if we can get context from there. Okay. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, thou art permitted to speak for thyself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself. Next verse. I think myself happy. Now look at this. I what? I what? Thinking is a process of what? Don't worry, there is no wrong answer. Just imagination, right? Somebody else? Okay. Process of action. Somebody else? About to make a decision. But when we speak about thinking, thinking is associated with what? The mind, right? We say the mind is the engine of the body. Now look at this. I think myself happy, Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day. Before the touching all the things whereof I'm accused of the Jews. He says, this is a man who is in chains. And he is brought before Agrippa, who's got the ability to pass a judgment for his death or to release him. And the man comes, he's accused. He says, being accused of the Jews. And he says, I think myself. In other words, I am in chains, but my mind is happy. My mind is not happy because things that are positive are happening, but because I have deliberately chosen to think happy thoughts. So the first pill, the first medication on your prescription, make sure that you think yourself happy. Have happy thoughts. When you are depressed, don't further allow your mind to have depressive thoughts. Anything you feed grows, but whatever you starve dies. So you counter that with happy thoughts. Somebody say happy thoughts. Imagine being accused. Some of you will be complaining, I'm being accused everywhere. But the man says, I think myself happy. In other words, I don't have to be free to be happy. Right where I am, I think myself what? Happy. Ephesians chapter 4 verses 4. Guys, this mic is expensive. So I'm trying to understand what is happening. I'm talking to the media team. No, Philippians. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say what? Do what? Now, rejoicing does not mean, happiness is a manifestation of happenings. I am happy because A, B, C, D have happened. But Paul was saying, in a negative atmosphere and environment, I have taken a deliberate effort to be happy. He is also speaking here, and he says, rejoice in the Lord always. So the second prescription, rejoice. Do what? Rejoice. Where do you rejoice? In the Lord. In the Lord. So in other words, come to a realization that only God can help me with this, and if I rejoice in Him, I will receive sufficient grace and strength to deal with what I'm going through. Rejoice. Do what? Somebody say rejoice. Rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord. So rejoice then becomes a pill for anxiety. So, in other words, I have to rejoice and behave as though I am free, even though I am not free. Because once it begins in the mind, the body will soon follow suit. The body will soon follow the condition of the mind. Let me tell you, when you are depressed and your mind is overwhelmed, all of a sudden your body feels. You feel fatigued. You don't even want to wake up. You don't want to. You are tired, but you didn't do any work. Why? Because the mind sent the signal to the body. Tools down. You are not okay. So the mind then needs to be reprogrammed, rewired, and messages have to be sent that, hey, the Lord is with me. I'm not alone. He said, though I walk through the waters, I have already seen the end before I began this journey. So you have to rejoice. You have to rejoice. Don't have a notion that when you are a Christian, there is no negative that will happen. Jesus himself never promised that. God never God said when you go through. In other words, he never promised that we will have a swift flight in the journey of life. The only thing he promised is that you will have a safe landing. Even amidst the turbulences, as the plane of your life, because of the storms, is with, he says, don't be afraid, you'll have a swift landing. When you go through the fire, I am with you. It shall not be overwhelmed. In other words, there will be those turbulences. So he's saying to you, I am not promising you a swift sailing, a swift driving, a swift flying, but one thing I guarantee is that the landing will be swift. So I have to motivate myself and tell myself that this is for the glory of God. I'm stressed about this thing at work, this negative. It shall not happen. This is for the glory of God. I'm stressed about the children's school fees money that hasn't been paid. I'm stressed about December salaries coming in, but I already know the debits are going. I need to take children to the village. When I get there, my father, my mother, they will be expecting money I don't even have. I've already overmaxed my credit facility. I can't even borrow. And you are thinking about all these things. What you do? Rejoice. Rejoice. It's easy to preach it, right? But practicalizing it is a challenge. But God says, rejoice. Somebody say rejoice. Somebody say rejoice. So we don't wait for things to change to be happy. Paul in Chains says, I think myself happy. So joy is about making a decision that wherever you are, God is still in control, not based on the happenings around me. So God is forever in control. God is forever what? Even when that husband fights you, or that wife fights you, God is still in control. Don't measure God's happiness with you or approval of you by only the good things that are happening. Even the bad things that happen, sometimes they are necessary for your spiritual development, and not just spiritual development, emotional maturity, not just emotional maturity, character development, not just character development, financial stability, because there's some level that God cannot prosper you to until he develops your mind, your capacity to be able to handle that level. Sometimes God himself will expose you to different kinds of challenges so that your soul is trained, because he knows if you are good at handling problems at this level and he wants to raise you at this level, sometimes you need to start dealing with the demons, the issues, the challenges of this level at that level, so that when you are entering, you don't lose it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So do what? Rejoice. Say, neighbor, you've got your prescription. Take your medication. Verses 5. The second thing, verses 5. Let your moderation be what? Known unto all men. The Lord is certain. He says, let your moderation be known unto all men. So then the third one, the third pill is be moderate. Be what? Moderate. I looked up the word in Greek. The word moderate means, it is the word epikaisi. It means be appropriate. It means be patient. In other words, you have to be patient and know that God is in control. Most of the time when we are under extreme stress, we overthink and we overreact. Are you hearing what I'm saying? When you are in a situation, the enemy will have you think that things are out of control. Do you know that there are things you are going through that when you tell a person, the way they will look at you, it will be as if they don't understand what you're going through. Because sometimes what we are going through, someone is able to look at it objectively who is not in the situation and assess and realize, but this should not be causing sleepless night. And at that moment, it looks insensitive. It looks like they don't care. Because to us, we have magnified our issue. You know, when I left at home, my husband looked at me the way he has never looked at me before. I felt that he wants to say something. That man is negative. I don't even know what he's going to say when I get home. And somebody look at you and say, why are you worried? Just go home. You get home, you find Makwabu has cleaned, has cooked. You know, have even bought flowers for the first time. And you were worried. Because sometimes we tend to magnify. I think we should retire that one. So we need to understand that God is in control and God is omnipresent. He is forever with us. He is what? Forever with us. Verse 6. Be careful for nothing. Let's read it. 1, 2, 3, go. Mm-hmm. Okay. Be careful for nothing. Worry about nothing. Which version did we use on Matthew? Can we use that version? Was it NLT? Please, quickly. The version we use for Matthew. Was it this one? Okay, let's go. Do not be what? Do not be anxious. About what? Anything means? Anything means? Does it include your finances? Does it include your credits? Does it include your marriage? Does it include your family members? Anything means? So why you have chosen that you will be anxious about certain things? Anything. But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. By prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. So the fourth pill for your prescription, prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. So God is saying, when you feel like you want to be anxious, pray with supplication and thanksgiving. In other words, when you are praying, be grateful and give thanks. So he's saying, be forced to look at things in your life that you can give thanks for. Be forced to look at things in your life that you can what? Be forced, be thankful for. So to every negative, there is the positive alongside. But the problem is, sometimes we have chosen to focus on the negative. You know, my business did not perform well this month. This month I only made 3,000 rand profit. Baby. So you made profit. Why don't you be thankful for that little 3,000? It is profit. You didn't have it before. You were not expecting it. You made it, you can use it. So why don't you give God the praise? Thanksgiving will cure the insufficiency in your life. Thanksgiving will cure the insufficiency in your life. Whenever you want to complain, look at the positive. And as you list what you are going through, thank God for what He has done. Thank God for what you has done. So be grateful. Be what? Be grateful. Do you know, and I always say this, where you are, it is somebody else's prayer point. There is somebody who looks at you, finds an inspiration. Say, Lord, if I could just, I wish I was that man. I wish I was that woman. The very things that you are taking for granted, somebody is looking at you and admiring them. Be grateful. Be grateful. You applied for a mansion. The bank said you do not qualify. Father, I fasted. I prayed. I even gave. Apostle prayed for me. I vibrated and jumped. But I was still declined. Baby. And the angel is saying, you've got a house that you are living in that was approved by God. Why don't you be great? Let us start from there. Let us start from there. I usually say, if you want to get something from God, know how to ask. Know how to stroke His ego. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Know how to what? Stroke His ego. If you are able to stroke it, but you every time you go, you go to God and address Him as if He has not done anything for you. How do you deal with people who ask you things and when they are, they are acting as if you have not done anything? Their asking is filled with complaints. So, be grateful. Be grateful for the clothes you have. Be grateful for the car you drive. Many people don't have a car. What about me, Pastor, if I don't have a car? What must I be grateful for then? Be grateful that you can walk. There are many people who can't walk. There is always something to be grateful for. Always something. Always something to be grateful for. Rise to your feet. Now I want to speak to you. I have given you a prescription. Take your medication. Say, neighbor, when you are anxious, take the medication. Pastor has given you the medication.